Good evening. It's time for Real Talk Elgin with your host, Heather Keller of the Keller Group of KW Inspire. Heather is a leader in real estate sales and a foreclosure specialist with over 13 years experience. Real Talk Elgin is your place to get the latest information about the newest trends in real estate. Learn about the industry and ask any questions you may have for Heather. Join Heather live in Studio 14 in downtown Elgin by calling 847-931-1410. That number again is 847-931-1410. And now, Real Talk Elgin with Heather Keller.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I am your host of Real Talk, Heather Keller, licensed real estate broker with Keller Williams Inspire. 13 years of expertise in short sales, traditional real estate buyers, you name it. I have done it all. I'm happy to be here again Tuesday evening. Yay, this is our second episode of season 2, so I'm really excited. I think a lot of you know that I started my first season last year, and here we are again. So when I first started the show, it was something that I wasn't sure about, and I always tell people this because I think it's important. And if you want to be successful, you kind of got to grow, and you can't grow in your comfort zone. So here I am because I do have the knowledge and the expertise in a lot of areas of real estate. So I'm here to provide that real-time accurate information. So our show is every other Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. here on WRMN 1410. You can listen to all of our past shows at realtalkelgin.com. And if you're on social media, please like our page, Real Talk Elgin. If you listen to podcasts, you can listen to any of them. You can ask your Alexa to play Real Talk Elgin, which is pretty cool. And we also now are on iHeartRadio. So coming up later on the show, we will talk about the new office in Elgin. I have some news that I found out about an hour ago, which is really exciting. And then I will tell you how to get a free copy of my book, The Complete Guide to Selling Your Home as a Short Sale. And then we'll talk about the rest of the shows for the first 6 months. And I'm super excited about my guest today. He's been on a couple other times, and it was one of our most popular downloads and listened to show last year. Stuart Swanson, partner and attorney with Cutler and Associates. So we brought him back because there's a lot going on in the market, and we wanted to get his opinion, and we hopefully will get some calls in today. And so, Stuart, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think last time there wasn't this much snow, right?
No.
Yeah, I know. Stuart is more towards the Skokie area. We do real estate all over. So it was a little bit of a drive. So thank you for coming out.
No problem.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a partner with Cutler and Associates. My primary area of practice is bankruptcy, and we do some real estate closings. I've been an attorney now for 15 or 16 years, and between my partner David and our fantastic team, we've helped thousands of folks navigate the bankruptcy laws, and we filed bankruptcies for people primarily in Chapter 7s and Chapter 13s. And we have offices in Skokie, Schaumburg, Oak Brook, and Aurora. And that's about it. That's about it.
So what is your contact information, if anyone's? We'll say it a few times throughout the show, but why don't you give that?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and give people my personal cell phone number, which is 773-575-7245. You can Google Cutler and Associates, which will pull up our webpage, and we have ways to contact us through there. But if you feel so inclined, you can text me or call me, and you'll find out I'm pretty responsive.
Yes, he is. I love that Stuart gives his cell phone out, but we work pretty well as a team. His team at the office is great. My team is, it's been like, 8 years? 8 years or so?
Yes.
It's going on 8 years since we started working together. So please call in. We're going to talk about short sales and bankruptcy and real estate tonight. So if you have any questions, you can call in 847-931-1410. Again, that's 847-931-1410. So what should we talk about first?
Well, I was thinking, a lot of people have been calling our office recently because of the different things that the government's doing with these stimulus packages and things like that. And we've been dealing with a lot of questions as it relates to the stimulus checks that come, the additional unemployment benefits, if the bankruptcy code's been modified to maybe deal with student loan debt. And what we've been telling people is that really nothing's changed from the bankruptcy code perspective. They haven't modified it. They've relaxed some of the restrictions in meeting with people. We're doing a lot more, video conferences, phone calls, document uploads. I've become extremely good at doing Zoom calls with people. And it makes it a lot easier, to allow people to do this without having to leave their house. So that's been one of the I would say, sort of not major changes, but one of the things that we've been sort of allowed to get away with. But as far as overall changes to the bankruptcy code or anything, that's not really happened. I don't expect that to happen. And I would imagine as we normalize, things will go back to the way we were doing it before, which is exactly what we'd like to have. So
In-person stuff.
Yeah,
that's the question I was going to
Absolutely.
ask.
Yeah.
In person.
So, real estate market seems to be relatively strong. I'm sure you're seeing that.
Yeah, it is good. It slowed a little bit over the holidays, but things are picking back up. With my specialty being in short sales, it's a little bit slower right now, and I think we'll talk about that later on in the show. But the moratorium has been extended, so I think we have a caller though, right?
We do. Yep, we're going to go to line 1. We've got Ken on the line. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Yes. Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for calling in to talk to Stuart and I.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
You two are my favorite people in the whole wide world.
Well, we appreciate it. I know you've worked with us in the past, so we just want to know, you filed for bankruptcy,
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
Yep.
And
Yep.
how did that go? What was your experience with Stuart and his team?
Well, okay, this there's a lot of fun little tidbits in the whole situation. I had a very high-paying job for a very long time, very secure, very stable, and I got romanced away to relocate to New York for a ridiculous amount of money. And I was there a month, and I said, "There's no way I'm moving my wife here," and it was terrible. And I had a two-year contract, and I ended up staying 2.5 years, and I was making about $300,000 a year. And I found a job about half that, and got back to Chicago, and quickly realized that my bills were ridiculously out of control, and there was no way that I was going to pay them. And I freaked out and panicked, and I called on a Sunday early afternoon and got Stuart on the phone. And it was like, wow, you picked up my call at 11 o'clock on a Sunday, and this is the kind of guy I want to work with, right? And that was like a preview to just how good Stuart was, in handling my situation. And then, to follow that up, I go in and I meet with him, and we go through all my bills. And, I had these visions of being able to keep the house and being able to, go on a Chapter 13 and pay these things down. And Stuart told me all this stuff I didn't want to hear. You got to sell the house. It's killing you. You don't have any kids, and you have this 3,400 square foot house and this $16,000 property tax bill. You got to get out of the house. And it took about a day, and I'm like, well, he's right. This is the biggest part of amongst many of my problems. And he says, I work with this really wonderful professional, Heather, that I'm going to introduce you to. And we went down that path, and I had leased the very expensive car that I had that was a killer, and there was no way I could get out of that because the bankruptcy would have had me, keep paying that lease payment. And then, Heather, you and I met, and you were phenomenal and non-judgmental, and you came in and you're like, this is a lot better than we've seen, and this house should be no problem, and it was a really positive experience. And then we had a buyer in November, and you guys coached me. I mean, Heather, your team coached me. You're like, write a letter, explain who you are, explain the personality of your dogs, explain that you're reliable and that you need a house. And we got in this incredibly beautiful house in Elk Grove for very, very little money compared to what I was paying. And we're still there, and the landlords are great, and we have a great relationship. But we did a rapid move in November because we had a buyer, right? Remember that? We had the buyer.
I do remember.
The buyer was going to buy in November, and it's the worst time in the month to
I
move, and it was awful. And we got everything in, and we moved, and it was great. And then we lost the buyer.
Yes. And I can't remember why, but
okay.
It fell through. Yeah.
Don't get emotionally attached. It will work out. It was not meant to be. And then the pandemic hit, and I lost my job. And then I quickly ran to Stuart, and not only did I wreck my job, but then I got really mentally distraught, and I wrecked my expensive new car.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And thank God I had full coverage insurance, and insurance paid for that, but I got to walk away from that really expensive car payment. And Stuart's like, no problem. Hey, we're going to convert it to a Chapter 7. You're not working. You're unemployed. We'll handle it. It'll be okay. It'll be okay, right? And then you were like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. And we found a buyer. You found a buyer and closed on my house the beginning of March, right at that pandemic, which was a godsend. And boy, did you work hard to do all of that. I mean, showings after showings after showings after showings, and then losing the buyer, and then getting the new buyer right when it was the most important. And then, Stuart walking me through the conversion to the 7 and then discharging everything. And then I was unemployed for about 7 months, and then I found another job with a great company, and it was less money, but it was a better company and a better culture and better benefits and just a much better place to be. And I could afford to take less money because I had discharged all of that debt, and because I didn't have that big house, and because I didn't have that expensive car. And I went out and bought a car for $3,000 that gets me from place to place, no problem. And all I do is Zoom calls right now, 7 to 5 every day. But I'm making a living, and I'm in my field, and I'm happy. And I would have never been able to have even considered that job if I hadn't gotten the burden of all of that debt, removed.
Ken, hey, Ken, this is Stuart, just really quick. I'm curious to know, one of the things that many people, question us about is, am I ever going to get credit again, or am I going to get offers for credit? What has your experience been with that?
My credit score right now is 695. I grabbed a few credit cards. I put a little bit on them and paid them off, a little bit on them and paid them off, and now they're all zero balance.
Good job.
Yeah. And then you keep them zero balance, and you use them for emergencies. And then this company is really cool. They have a mandatory 401k where it's 6% in and 6% match. And I'm like, where are you going to get 100% return on your investment? So I'm dumping into that. And then
that's awesome.
The FSA is they give you $800, and then I put $50 a paycheck into my FSA. So that takes, that brings down my taxable income even more. And then, we're thinking about getting a car, but I'd rather pay cash for it. I mean, I'd like to pay cash. We need a second car just because I think this $3,000 car might not last as long as I'd like it to. And we'll probably, save up and spend $10,000 and buy a better quality car that'll last longer.
Well, buddy,
but that's not an issue right now when we're Zooming everything. All we're doing is going to the grocery store and back right now.
Right. It sounds like you're winning, Ken. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
You got a great job. You got your expenses under control. You're rebuilding your credit correctly. I can't, I can't be more proud of you, bud. I appreciate your business and the opportunity to help you through it for sure. And I love to hear the successes for sure.
Well, the key thing I think that everybody should take away from this is that, Stuart, the thing that I liked about you the most was you're not a sweet talker. You're not, you tell it like it is, and it's hard to hear, and it's not what you want to hear, but it's the right thing to do. And, telling me that I had to lose the house and being attached to a house that was too big for us anyway and ridiculous, we're in a 1,600 square foot ranch in Elk Grove Village. I couldn't be happier. Dogs are happy, wife's happy. It's a beautiful little house. Landlords are great.
I remember you were so excited about that house. So life really is good right now, right? After bankruptcy and short sale.
Yeah, we are not worried about our bills. We work a really good budget. All we're paying for is rent, utilities, insurance. Cell phone bills, but I get a stipend for work. But the point is that I walked into Stuart's office terrified, thinking the world was going to end, and then losing my job and freaking out and getting in the car accident, just compound worse upon worse upon worse. And every time it was that voice of reason between you, Heather, or you, Stuart. Losing the buyer, don't worry, we're going to get another one, and you did. Stuart, hey, you got to lose the house. You got to lose the house, and then we're going to convert to a 7. You don't know anything on the car. You walked away from it. Oh, that's a godsend. That's great. You don't have that $950 car payment anymore.
Yeah.
Just go buy a $3,000 car. I mean, I don't know if I'm a unique case in the way that fate worked out, but all of the most terrible things that I thought could have happened turned out to be the best things that could have happened and put me in the right place. So, listen to the hard advice, take the hard advice, and then have faith in the professionals. I mean, you guys are a dream team when it comes to the support for the real estate side of it, the support for the financial side of it, going through the proper motions of getting it discharged. I mean, you are both phenomenal about it. I can't imagine, Stuart, you being all, oh, it'll be okay. Maybe we'll keep the house. No, it was just like, this is killing you. Get rid of it. This is killing you. Get rid of it.
Yeah, he's definitely say it how it is, right?
Yeah, matter of fact. I really like that. And he was right. I mean, he was right every step of the way. And you can't fight that. And it was the right thing to do. And even if you don't want to hear it, it's the right thing to do.
Ken, I truly believe people meet for a reason and everything happens for a reason. And Stuart and I are very thankful that we were able to help you. And, if you're ever ready to buy down the road, you know where we're at. But we really appreciate you calling in and letting everyone know your experience with us.
Well, you both did such a wonderful job for me. How could I not call in? I mean, I would be happy to do anything that you guys need in the future as a reference or whatever. As for buying, part of me never wants to buy again because I don't want to pay property tax. And then again, I still have to wait 4 years after Chapter 7 anyway. And I've got the best landlord in the world where everybody's like dodging eviction because of this pandemic. I've been paying on time and making him happy. And I probably could stay in this house another 3-4 years and just be fine. It's just, it's really how you treat people and your guidance on talking to the landlord and, staying away from those corporate landlord companies where they, it's just they go through the checklist and you can get into this house. No, it's really got to be a one-on-one personal experience when you're looking for that rental where you really got to have a relationship with the landlord where they trust you and you trust them and you treat them with respect. And you taught me that, Heather.
Yeah.
And Stuart, you were so funny. I was freaking out. I'm not going to find a house. You're like, people do it all the time.
I always tell people, in the 13 or 14 years now that I've been doing this, I say we've never not been able to find a house. I always tell people it may not be your first choice, but you will find a house and it's only going to be temporary. But for you, Ken, maybe it is long term. But anything else you want to say, Stuart?
Now, Ken, listen, buddy, we're going to let you go. We really appreciate the phone call. You've got my cell phone number, and feel free to, text me and continue to tell me about the wins, man, and good luck with you, okay?
Thank you, Ken.
You are both absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you more than you know.
All right. Take care, Ken.
Thank you.
It's probably with the pandemic, this is not a unique situation. Obviously, it sounds like he's received the positive side of it, but are you having a lot of people that are falling into that trap? It just seems like one thing happens after another after another.
So 2020 was my best year in real estate, but I was trying to think back. I didn't realize. So we started his deal sometime in 2019. I want to say it was like August. How I remember that, I don't know. But he's right. We got the buyer, and then for whatever reason, the buyer fell through. I think it was where the bank was like $5,000 off, and the buyer didn't want to come up $5,000.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And so it fell through, and I think we ended up closing. He's right. It was like right before
the pandemic hit.
Yeah. So when the pandemic hit for me, every single short sale I had, it like everyone backed out.
Right.
Everyone is kind of freaked out. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? The market's, nothing's happening. And that was probably April, maybe just April, because May was a pretty good month. And then people started getting out and making more offers. And then,
But, Ken's financial situation is, I don't want to say extremely typical, but you have somebody that was making a certain amount of money, and his lifestyle was at that level. And that's what ends up happening with a lot of people. They go through life and they start making more money, and the first thing that naturally happens is their spending goes up to whatever that new income level is. And then all of a sudden you get a situation where either the rug gets pulled out from you, or you have a life-changing event, a divorce, a sickness, or whatever, and then everything's piling on top of you. And most of my clients are fighters by nature, and they're going to fight their way through it, and this and that and that and this. And, sometimes you have to sit down and have that tough discussion. And, Ken's situation, those are the situations that happen. Somebody's making a decent living, then it goes away. But as long as they trust the process, good things usually happen to people, and we really try to guide them through every step.
Yeah, like I always say, hold their hand. So, he came to Stuart. He started with a 13, which is a payment plan.
Right.
And I can't remember what happened, but I remember you telling me switching to a 7. I think there's qualifications or something.
His income had changed significantly.
But we started, so I think I met him in summer of 2019. So it was
that long ago.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years this summer.
That's crazy.
But we didn't close it, and it's been almost a year.
Right.
So it took 6 or 7 months, and his deal was one mortgage. I don't remember who it was with, but it was one mortgage, which makes it a little bit easier depending. But I think it was Freddie Mac, which they're a little bit more strict. Fannie Mae is super, super easy. But he did get $3,000. Yeah. I do remember that. He got $3,000 for doing the short sale. So for him,
to help relocate.
Yeah. And he was super nervous and, not necessarily unsure, but it was very daunting for him. And
yeah,
so,
I can imagine.
He just was very thankful at the end that we were able to get it done. So
reassuring.
Yeah.
Boy, it takes him. And I like the fact of just calling it like it is. You know what I mean? Everybody can say, "Oh, you'll be fine, but it doesn't really soothe your nerves until you have somebody saying, "Listen, dude, no."
Yeah. There is life after bankruptcy and short sales. So perfect timing. We are going to take a quick break, and then we will be returned shortly. So thank you.
Welcome back to Real Talk Elgin with real estate expert Heather Keller. Call 847-931-1410 and Heather will be happy to answer your questions about real estate. And now back to Studio 14 in downtown Elgin for more Real Talk Elgin with Heather Keller.
Welcome back, everyone. Okay, before we get started on our second segment with Stuart, I do have a featured property of the week, so I wanted to quickly go over that. It was listed at the beginning of January. Things are still going fast. We have 20 listings, my team, and I think there's only a couple. So if you have, if you're looking for a house in Mount Prospect, I do have a short sale out there. But this one is in Geneva. The address is 2128 Pepper Valley Drive, and it's in the Pepper Valley neighborhood, which is right near Randall and Del Nor Hospital. It's a 2-story home with 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, an updated master bathroom, a walk-in closet with custom built-ins in the master. It is lovely. You'll love it. Hardwood floors on the main level, an unfinished full basement that's already rough-in for a bathroom and a bar. There's a huge backyard with a patio and a swing set. It is a short sale. There's 2 mortgages. The first mortgage is actually going to be paid in full, and the second mortgage will be short. It's listed at $324,900. Okay, so quickly, because I think we have another caller, right? Keller Williams Inspire is coming to Elgin. I know I say this all the time, but guess what? An hour before I came on the show, I saw pictures. So there's proof that we are under construction, and the grand opening should be soon. So it looks like you're going to be coming back to Elgin, Stuart. I think in March. I'm told March, so maybe April. We'll see. So hopefully we'll get someone from the office on the show to talk more about it. But I'm so excited. That's the main reason why I came to Keller Williams, and it's almost been a year. So if you want a pre-copy of my book, you can go to realtalkelgin.com, click on short sale book at the top right, and fill out the form, and we'll get you a copy. Okay, I think we have another caller. Sharda?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Sharda.
Hi, Stuart.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Nice to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
So, Sharda, we wanted you to call in just to kind of tell your experience. So when we first met, gosh, it was years ago. I think I was pregnant with my second child. So, and he's going to be 7. It was a long time ago.
Wow.
But you had a condo in Streamwood, and you met Stuart first. Did you file for Chapter 7?
Yes. Oh, my God. The day I walked in to Stuart's office, I was very nervous. I was ashamed. And you have no idea how I felt. But when I walked out after talking to him, oh, my God, I felt like he took all the weight off of my shoulder. It was very positive experience. Very positive experience. Yes, I did go through that BK, and then he introduced you to me for my short sale, which went very smooth. I didn't even know when it started and when it ended. You took care of everything.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, right?
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, my God. And I felt, and then I just started all over again.
Yes, you started. So working with us, what was your experience? You did the bankruptcy, we closed the short sale.
It's wonderful. You both worked together the whole process was very smooth and easy that it could be. I just can't stress enough. You guys took all my stress and anxiety away and handled it. I don't know what to say, Heather. Without you guys, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And now, after 4 years later, you helped me buy another house, and I am back in my 4-bedroom house and living with my daughter. She's in college, and I'm enjoying my life.
When did
Started all over again.
Yeah, when did we close on that? It's been a couple years, right?
2018 in June.
Wow.
Oh, it's going to be 3 years.
Almost 3 years, yeah. In 2 more months.
We must have did the short sale in 2013. I remember you had one mortgage. Don't ask me how I remember this stuff. And I did not look at your file before I came here. U.S. Bank, and I think, did you get $3,000 in relocation assistance?
I think I did.
Yeah, I thought you did. So where did you go after we closed on the short sale? You rented
I rented
for a
an
while?
apartment.
Okay.
In Elgrove.
Okay. And then you
And I was
decided to buy.
there for like 4 years, and I rebuilt my credit, and I almost got back on my feet. And then you helped me buy this apartment, buy this townhouse again.
Sharda, extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
I do remember the first time you did, you came in to sit down with me, and those feelings you had. I think a lot of people feel those feelings. What I'd like to talk about is what steps you took after the bankruptcy to get yourself to the point you could buy that house again, because many clients ask me that specific question. And I'd really love to hear what you did, in taking control of your life to get back to the point where you bought that house. Could you walk us through that for a few minutes?
Sure. Yes. After I filed bankruptcy, I didn't have any debt, short sale, no nothing. So I went into the apartment and I managed myself how to spend money and where to spend money, and just buy with the cash or debit card, because I didn't have any credit cards. So I think after a year later, then I went back and got a secured credit card because I had to rebuild my credit again.
Okay.
So then I started using a little bit credit and paid off right away every month, not carrying the balances and stuff like that. And that's how I built my credit again. And then I felt more comfortable after 3-4 years later. And that's when I reached out to Heather and asked her, is it time to buy another house? And she said, definitely. And here I am.
And I think Mike, did Mike do the mortgage?
No,
you're the Fifth Third. Your contact at Fifth Third
did that mortgage. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. We closed on the short sale, and then it was about 4 years later. I didn't realize.
4 years later. Yep.
It's already been 3 years. So life now is good, Sharda?
Wonderful, wonderful. I can't be more happier than I am. The best day of my life was when I closed on this house and you and Stuart were both there with me. That was the best day of my life.
Oh, I'm going to try not to cry, because that makes me so happy.
You have no idea.
I'm about ready to start singing "Circle of Life" from The Lion King with you, Sharda. If you were here, I would hold you up over my head and sing "Circle of Life." No, I'm very. Listen, we put you. You're the one that did all of this. We were your vessels, but you're the one that did it. You took control of your life, and I couldn't be more proud of you. And I'm actually have lots of goosebumps sitting here listening to you talk to me about this, because, that's the thing that this is what we enjoy the most, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Sharda.
Yeah, I did it, but I couldn't have done it without you and Heather's help.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, keep in touch, right?
I sure will.
All right.
Sure will.
And good luck with your girl in college. And where's she at school, really quick?
She's right now in Harper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was in Florida and for a year, and after COVID, she moved back here, and now she's taking some classes in Harper and planning to go back to Florida next year again.
Well, she should go to Florida right now, because they don't have 8 inches of snow on the ground.
I know, right?
All right. Well, you take care of yourself, Sharda. Thanks for calling in.
I will.
Thank you, Sharda.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Oh,
she's super.
My cheeks hurt because I'm like smiling so much. So that actually happens a lot, where someone comes, files for bankruptcy, does the short sale, and then, like her case, it was 4 years later. And I remember getting the call from her. She's like, I'm ready to buy. And I'm like, has it been 4 years already? And I keep all the paperwork, because a lot of times, when you're getting the financing, they'll ask for that statement to show that you closed. So, but I didn't realize it'll be 3 years this year since she bought that townhouse. 3 years.
It's incredible. I mean, she had a lot going on when she first came to see me. Mm-hmm. And, she's the type of person that you just absolutely love helping through all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
She's just really such a great, great person. And it was wonderful. I mean, it's crazy in hearing from these people, how long ago, you started the process with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 7. Because like I said, I met her, and I'm pretty sure I was I had to have been. I think I was pregnant with my youngest, and he's going to be 7.
That's
So
insane.
it must have been right when we started working together, or close to it. Yeah.
You know, it's two unique situations that with Ken to start with, and knowing that he had to go from living this type of lifestyle, and then with even Charter coming on and telling her story that I was embarrassed. You know what I mean? Those are emotions that seem to go hand in hand with this a little bit. So to have somebody there to kind of pick you up by your bootstraps and say, come on, let's do this together. The fact that they're so grateful this many years afterwards show it was a rare statement in their life, a big part of their journey.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. That's a neat story.
People just getting over the shame. I don't know what she used the word shame.
She said embarrassed, you know, because
Embarrassed, shame,
it's almost like feeling like it's a fail, and you don't realize it's just to start over. You know, it's
Absolutely.
it's a new go.
There is life. There's life after bankruptcy and short sale. You just have to, meet the right team who's going to walk you through that process, because it is scary. It is embarrassing. It's daunting. But, Sharda and Ken, they're good now. And we actually have someone else closing on a house mid-February, and we did a short sale with them. That was 2016. I just pulled their statement today. It was 2016.
Okay.
And they did a bankruptcy and a short sale, and now they're purchasing.
So if there's somebody out there that finds himself in this situation and you've kind of been teetering, sometimes when you just finally bite the bullet and make the decision to contact Stuart or to do something about it, it's nice to know, and especially that you're reachable. You want to shoot out your phone number again real quick in case somebody wants to text or call?
Yes, 773-575-7245. That's 773-575-7245.
I want you on my GPS.
Yeah.
He's like, that's 773.
I know, that's a nice voice, right?
It's a lot of practice trying to spell Stuart over the phone, giving somebody an email. You learn to talk very slowly and try to, enunciate correctly.
And then for my information, you can call or text me to 312-607-7928. My email is info@tkghomes.net. So maybe you're not ready right now, and I think we're going to talk about this next. Things are slow because of what's going on with COVID, but it is good to have a plan in place, because once the moratorium is lifted, or whatever they're doing, which we'll talk about that, things are going to start back up again. And you don't want to have the banks setting a date. You want to get that help before that date's set, because while we could still get it done at that point, it's much more difficult. So having a plan in place, whether you talk to us now and you're not ready till summer, fine, but at least we can come up with something for you.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So and when you were on the show in October, we said, okay, we're going to bring Stuart back in January, because we thought that was ending.
Correct. The moratorium.
So what is a moratorium? What is it? Why was it extended? Like, what's going on?
Well,
and how is that affecting everything? That's a lot of questions.
well, right now, to soften the blow of COVID, the government has taken steps to allow people to go through forbearances on their mortgage. And we all thought that was going to terminate sometime around the 1st of January. Why? It just seemed like a natural date. But our clients were being told, December 30th, December 30th, December 30th, January 1st. And the odd thing is, some mortgage companies did start, saying that this had gone on long enough. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the election got over, the COVID cases spiked, and there's been an extension, of evictions and foreclosures and things like that, to presumably allow people to get to the point where they can start working again. And obviously it's meant to keep a wave of foreclosures like we had in 2008 and 2009 and things like that. And eventually, this is going to stop.
And from what I understand and I read, Biden extended it through the end of March. Okay, so the end of March, that's 2 months away. What's going to happen then, like when that's done? Are these people going to have to bring their...
Well, the letters that we're getting from the banks basically say we'll either modify the loan, you got to pay us all at once, we'll start foreclosure proceedings, and the issue is nobody really knows.
Yeah.
And my gut tells me that there probably will be a fair amount of these that people will be allowed to rework their loans, modify them, stick these missed payments on the back end. However, I filed a 13 for a gentleman the other day where his mortgage company came in and said, you have 3 months to pay us.
To bring it current?
Right. And what's happening, this is the thing that not a lot of people get. Everybody right now is taking advantage of the forbearances.
Whether they need to or not.
Whether they need to or not. And what a lot of people don't understand is when the banks review, they're going to ask questions like, what happened to your income the last 6 to 9 months? And if you haven't had a drop in income, there's going to be a come to Jesus moment with your mortgage. So if you have been in a forbearance, this is my humble opinion. I have no authority on this, but in my humble opinion, the banks are going to rework people's loans only for probably that 20% of the people that actually need it, or 30% of the people that need it. If you are a person who's been taking advantage of the forbearance and just enjoying the extra $2,000 in your pocket every month, I think you're going to have an issue. That happens, you and I are going to be extremely busy.
I know, that's what we thought. I mean, when we said October and, we'll come back in January, here it is already. And while things are, steady, I've noticed a lot of people are like, no, I'm not, like we have a plan.
Right.
Which is good. And I just continue to keep in touch with them because you're going to have to give at some point. Like there's, and they know that, but the banks, no one's doing anything right now.
Well, and the reason why I have this little theory is because I have a very good friend of mine who took a PPP loan, which were being handed out back in March or April, May, and June. And he took a substantial amount of money. And his business during the entire time was thriving. He made more money than he's ever made. And for people who actually lost revenues and things like that, they're allowing these people to have those loans forgiven. Well, he went to get his loan forgiven, and the bank looked at him and said, you didn't lose any money. So now he's got to repay the loan. Now, he would have taken the money regardless because he had no idea what was going to happen to his business, and the repayment amount is very small. But I have a sneaky hunch that the government is not going to go into and I don't know how they can to begin with, but I don't think the government can't go in and buy down every one of these loans and say, stick everything on the back end. At least I don't think the money's there. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think the people that absolutely need the relief, and everything you hear from our new president and things like that is everything's about if you need relief, if you need relief, if you need relief, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But, they're not going to allow somebody that was making $150,000 a year that didn't lose any income, that didn't pay their mortgage 9 months.
I have a feeling there's going to be some catching up somewhere.
Oh,
eventually people will be catching up,
Yeah.
and then you're going to have a lot of people by surprise.
I mean, I talk to a lot of people, and I'm so curious. Like, I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it because...
and this is only residential.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the forbearances that have been going on commercial properties.
Right. And gosh, I know nothing about commercial, but I know it's all over the place.
It is, but you've got all these businesses that have not been paying the rent, and there's been these eviction moratoriums. At some point, I mean, it's coming.
Yeah.
And I don't think any commercial properties they're going to stick these on the back end. Residential maybe, but there's going to be a bloodletting at some point, I think.
And it's scary. As much as I feel blessed when people find us and we work together as a team and, we're able to help them. It is scary because no one knows really what's going to happen. And I ask people all the time because I'm so curious, like, all the attorneys I work with now or new attorneys I met, like, what is your opinion? And, everyone has fairly the same opinion, but then they're like, well,
but I have
don't
no
know.
facts to
I
back
don't
it up
know.
with.
Yeah, I think that's all about COVID. We've lived in a state of, you know what, this is what I think, but I'm not sure. You're right. There's no facts to back it up. So it's always been that if or not.
So we were thinking when the moratorium was up, which we thought would have been by this show, that it would be, second quarter, I think we said, for, things would pick back up. Fortunately, there'll be more short sales and stuff. I think the market's still going to be good, though, regardless. But I still think that there's
interest rates are so low.
Yeah.
But to one of the things that you brought up earlier, people need to get moving on this because we're entering in the prime selling season. You're the real
usually
estate
after Super Bowl, things pick up. I don't know. I haven't taken on a ton of short sales lately.
Right.
So I'm probably going to have like no appointments in February and March. And then, April's going to hit and there's going to be like 30.
Right.
So, but then again, we don't know. But like I've said, I always say this on these shows, you have to have a plan.
Right.
So if you're
Don't wait.
wondering about Chapter 7 or you're wondering about 13 or what you should do, then you need to reach out to Stuart and his team and just talk to him. He literally answers his phone all the time. Well, maybe not at like 2:00 in the morning, but we texted before really early in the morning.
Right.
So call Stuart with your questions on bankruptcy. And then if you have questions about short sales, I don't know how the bankruptcy works internally. I just know how it works hand in hand with the short sale. So I can answer those questions. But you have to have a plan in place. So if you haven't made a payment in almost a year because of COVID, then, what's your mortgage company going to do? And then we can plan accordingly after that because you do not want to get served papers and then go through the process.
So how do they create the plan? Do they call their bank and find out from the mortgage company, or are you just kind of opening up the Pandora's box and getting them
I would say
spotlight on yourself?
Call their bank when the moratorium's up, wouldn't you say, and ask them what to do. My thing with loan modifications is it seems like or at least the people that have come to me, they just don't work out for whatever reason.
I don't know how they're going to allow people and there are people that are completely fine from an income perspective that are taking full advantage of these forbearances. I have no idea how in the world they're going to allow them to take those loans, that money, and stick it at the back end of the loans.
Those people
it doesn't seem right at all.
Most people say that if you're doing the forbearance, that you're going to have to bring all that money current. And I think people then realize, like, okay, well, I'm going to have to possibly do a bankruptcy.
They don't read the letters.
No.
I can tell you that right now. No. And every one of these lenders put it right at the bottom. Understand these are options above, but we're inclined to ask you to pay us all the money at once. Mm-hmm. And that's, there are a lot of people that are living under this false pretense that the government is going to write in and they're going to do all this stuff with these loans. And maybe they do. But for the life of me, I don't know how this many people in our country can go, a year without paying their mortgage.
It's been almost a year. Gosh.
It's like a year without paying their mortgage. Who pays for it? Where does the money come from?
Why don't you quickly give your phone number again, because we're running.
773.
Not that quickly. Slowly, so people can write it down. All right. Call Stuart, though.
773-575-7245. That's it.
That's good.
Thank you.
So I love having Stuart on the show. Hopefully we provided a lot of great information for our viewers. And you can listen to any of our past shows on realtalkelgin.com, anywhere you listen to podcast, or ask your Alexa or your Google, hey, play Real Talk Elgin. It's kind of cool. Your kids will probably like that. Or we are on iHeartRadio. We will be back in 2 weeks. Mike Doty has been on our show before. He's VP of Mortgage Lending with Guaranteed Rate. Leah, you know. So Mike will be here in 2 weeks. We're going to go over financing and how the market is and what's upcoming. So again, thank you for tuning in. Season 2, Episode 2 with Stuart. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.